welcome back to another episode of the Bonus Show with Dr. Kojo. This is my bonus show that I create, which allows me to come and talk to you all more on live so we can talk and hang out and have fun. Once again, if you're not familiar with how things work around here, my name is Dr. Kojo. I'm your host, and I'm checking in from sunny Los Angeles, California today. We're going to be talking about things that every man needs to hear for his mental health. But before we go ahead and do that, use the comment section to let me know where you're from, where you're checking in, what your name is, where you're checking in from. Let's go ahead and get started. So first, goes out to Augustina Okizi. Did I say that correctly? So we got Augustina in. And then also Braden. So Braden says he's having a baby. So Braden, I hope you're telling the truth because we're going to celebrate for you. So I hope you're telling the truth. But I don't think you would lie. So Braden, congratulations on your child. Congratulations. This is exciting. And Amy, yes, I'm going to list them out, and I'm going to leave this for people to watch after the fact. So Harley back from Tennessee. Doris, what's up? Manny from New York. Lisette from Connecticut. Shimana from Atlanta. Cassie from Houston, Texas. Abraham, I'm doing good. Appreciate you, my guy. Thank you for asking. I'm doing good. Stephanie from Missouri. Tiffany from Ogden, Utah. Susie from Texas. We got Tara from Oregon City, Oregon. Angel checking in from South Dakota. Hatcher, how you doing? I miss you as well. Miss you, love you. Hope you're doing good. Regina from New York. April and Charlotte. I'm a family med doctor. I love what you're doing for mental health. Family med. Dr. Janlin, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Molly from Kansas City. I hope you're not a Chiefs fan. Jacob from California. Abraham from Ohio. Linda from Jackson, Mississippi. Brandon from Oklahoma. Shout out. Welcome back, everybody. Emily. How are you doing? All right. So let's talk about it. 5 things that every man needs to hear for his mental health. I'm going to do my best to provide a lot of value on this one because male mental health is very important. And I'll be using my own personal experiences and things that I've learned as a mental health provider over the years to give you all these 5 things that every man needs to hear. And these are not listed in order of importance. I'm just listing 5 things that every man needs to hear, in my opinion. All right, so let's start off. Number 1, 5 things that every man needs to hear for his mental health, right? You deserve to be heard. This is so important because the likelihood of somebody speaking up and saying things, it depends on them, on how much they believe that they'll be heard, right? You deserve to be heard, right? As we talk, you might be talking to certain people and telling them about what you're going through and your feelings, but not everybody will listen to you. I do acknowledge that, right? There's a reason why the suicide rate is so much skewed to where men are disproportionately affected. It's way more men who are taking their lives as opposed to women. And mental health awareness is for everybody, regardless of however you identify. But it's important for men to know that they can speak up and they deserve to be heard. I see Molly's a Chiefs fan. I figured you're from Kansas City, so I'm sure you're a Chiefs fan. Yeah, I'm a Titans fan. But yes, every man, you deserve to be heard. It's so important, right? And even for me, like, I have to remind myself that, okay, I deserve to be heard. Like, my voice matters. My concerns are important, and there's people out there who want to hear you out, And I remember for the first time, I went to therapy for the first time 2.5 years ago in the middle of the pandemic. And it was so weird for me because I had never talked to another person who was listening to what I was saying and providing feedback. Like I knew I was therapist myself, but I'm like, oh, this is so weird to like have an actual therapist for me. I'm like, does this person actually care, or are they just here to collect the money? Like, those are the thoughts going through my head, right? So it's very important to understand that you deserve to be heard. And Brian is saying right here, what about when there's no one to listen to? Well, Brian, that's why we have an online community. I'm going to get a Discord set up. I'm going to get a Discord set up. And Lily, I see what you're saying about don't downplay that women attempt to take their lives, but more men succeed. I'm not downplaying anything about women. Mental health awareness is for everybody. But Lily, I'm not downplaying anything about women. I just want to address that. But I'm happy that you mentioned that because it's important to present the information in a way that people can understand and in a way that's actually like true and factual. But Brian is saying, What about when there's no one there to listen? Brian, you wrote this comment up here, and now 200 people can see what you wrote. I can see what you wrote. So you typed in a comment, and I was able to click it and bring it to the front of the screen. There are people out there who want to hear you, and you just have to find those people, which can be difficult, especially if you're going through a hard time and you have a lot of energy, and you're like, I just feel like there's no point in speaking up. But there is a point in speaking up. There are people out there who want to hear you, and whether you don't have people around you physically, you can tap into an online community. Like I said, I'm going to get the Discord server going. I don't know how Discord works, but we're going to figure the thing out. And we're going to have a community where people can come in and people understand how things work in this community. So just understand that even if there aren't people physically around you, that it is important for you to speak up. And there are people out there who want to hear what you have to say. I think it's very important. As guys, we need to start talking about this stuff a little bit more, right? And Kendra says, I feel like it's harder for men to speak up about mental health. Glad you give an outlet for everyone, no matter how we identify, speak up. So Kendra, thank you so much for this. And it's difficult to even get the conversation going, right? Like I look at my analytics, every 4 out of 5 people who follow me are women, right? Or they identify as women, so there's not a lot of people who follow me who are guys. So I'm doing my best to reach you guys, and it's going to take a team effort, not just me, but the more you talk about it, the more people know that, it's important to talk about the things that are important to me, right? And the second thing that I want, Jen, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Jen. The second thing that I want every guy to understand, and listen, before we get the second thing, let me talk about this real quick. My husband is bipolar and keeps everything in and doesn't know how to process his emotions. So this is a big help. Listen, I appreciate you. I think it's important for guys to know that, hey, whether I'm bipolar, regardless of whatever I have, it's important to just speak up. It's just very, very, very important to speak up. And Kendra, you're right. You're right. You're definitely right. A network engineer. Ellie, I'll be getting all the help I can to get this Discord thing going. All right. So the second thing that I think it's important for every man to hear for his mental health is money does not define you. So, for the guys who are watching, you can probably back me up on this. A lot of times as guys, you tend to compare yourself to other guys and see like where, you are or how you stack up against other guys. And one way that we do this is with money, right? And this is it's BS. And of course, money is important. Go get money. Like we all need money to live. But money doesn't define you, right? And I'm speaking from personal experience. Like I remember when I was, I hate talking about money online, but here's a good example. Hopefully this makes things a bit clearer. So we're going to circle back to 2015, right? So 2015, at that time, I had made the most money that I'd ever made, right? This is very important. I'll never forget. I made $93,000 that year. And I'm telling you all this for a reason, right? So 2015 was the most successful year for me money-wise. I made $93,000, right? I remember telling some of my close friends, I'm like, I made $93,000. I'm thinking to myself, oh, wow, I'm finally rich. Like, I'm happy, right? And I went to have lunch with a couple of my friends, right? And these guys all had their own businesses. These guys were making way past 6 figures. These guys were all big earners, right? And I remember one of the guys asking me how much money I made. And I was too ashamed to tell him how much money I made because I didn't I didn't make 6 figures. So I was like, oh, yeah, I did okay. I maybe even lied and said that I made 6 figures. But when I left the conversation, I'm like, that's so ridiculous. I had to lie about how much money I was making to feel like I was a man, right? Like that's very important. And I'm somebody, I come from Section 8 housing, food stamps, Nashville, Tennessee. Like I came from nothing, and I finally got to the point where I made $93,000, but I'm afraid to talk about it because I didn't hit that arbitrary $100,000, benchmark or whatever, So it's important to understand the money doesn't define you. Go make all the money you want, but you're not better than somebody else because you make more money, or you're not worse than other people because you don't make enough money. So as guys, this whole thing of, I gotta out earn, no. You don't have to out. If you'll make a single dollar, you're still somebody worthy of attention, love, and respect. And I think a lot of guys need to hear that. Like me, 7 years, I needed to hear that message. That would have gone a long way for me. Like it's not about the money. It is, but it's not about money when it comes to how you feel about yourself, right? So really understand that, your clothes don't, make you more of a person, not your wallet, not how you look, because you wake up one day and, like, you may not have all of this, right? So it's very important to understand that. And Gabe says, quit comparing your achievements to other people, and you'll find it. Yes, yeah, for sure, right here. This is definitely a love of the show. We don't need to worry about what other people are doing. If you see another guy doing, or this is not even for guys or for girls, but if you see somebody else doing what you're doing, and you think that what they're doing is amazing, say, hey, congrats on that. Be happy for somebody and come back to your stuff, right? Comparison is a thief of joy. I heard that phrase for the first time a couple of years ago. It made my head spin. I'm like, oh, the more you're comparing yourself to other people, the less time you have to be grateful for what you actually have, right? Rachel said, this community is found to be a safe space for males, this will become life-changing for those. Rachel, I completely agree. Yee! And it's important to do this, whether the numbers are high or not, whether people watch it or not. 2 or 3 guys who need to watch this will watch this after the fact, and it'll make a big difference, right? And Jesse says, but it's not always. So Jesse, you're right. As a guy, sometimes when you speak up or you want to be vulnerable, you don't have a non-judgmental space to speak up, right? And without that space, who wants to speak up and be judged, right? I don't want to be judged. You don't want to be judged. I mean, nobody wants to be judged, right? So it's important to understand we need a safe space where we can talk about things without being judged. And that's one of the best things about therapy. If you go to a therapist and they're judging you, I kind of question that. I think you might need to find a different therapist, right? But that's why it's so important to have that safe space. After speaking up, how do you go about controlling your emotions with money needs? So, Omar, check this out. If you speak up about something and you still feel like you're having a hard time controlling your emotions, you didn't get what you need to get out all the way fully, because you still need to express yourself, right? What we need to be careful about is expressing ourselves like physically. For example, in the NBA, we had the fight between Draymond Green and Jordan Peele. Apparently, Draymond was, he went and he punched the guy, knocked him out. The video is out there on Teams, that you all can pull it up. He went there and just knocked out his teammate. And when he was questioned about it in the press conference, he said, I take full accountability. I shouldn't have done that, but I was going through things in my life. I was in a dark place, and then I got to practice. I could not control my emotions, and I went ahead and I punched my teammate. Now he's going to lose tons of money. He'll be suspended, more than likely. And if he had been able to just control himself a little bit more and he didn't punch his teammate, we wouldn't have this whole embarrassing issue, right? So any little bit of impulse control goes a long way. Omar, just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. And everyone here, y'all are amazing. Don't give up. Hey, Molly, I appreciate you. I really appreciate you. It means a lot for you to say that. All right. Now, the third thing that I want every man to hear for his mental health right here, number 3, protect your peace. Everything is not for you. This is so important, right? As a guy, sometimes, I don't know if it's the media, I don't know where it's coming from, but there's this pressure to have to be Superman. We don't have to be Superman. In fact, we don't have to be Superman at all. You can really just be a regular person, and every now and then you do things that are Superman-like. Every now and then we do some amazing things, and we're proud of ourselves. We wrote a book. We finished a class. You were able to start a new hobby and be consistent with it. I worked out this morning. Those things make us feel like we're Superman. But we don't have to be on go all the time. It's not human to be like doing all these different things all at once. You're going to get burnt out. You have to figure out what's for you and what's not for you. Protecting your peace is going to be, this is probably advice for everybody. Of course, this is 5 things every man needs to hear for his mental health. But anybody, if you get to a point where you're like overwhelmed and you're managing all these different things, protect your peace. Everything is not for you. Everything is not meant for us to go out there and get, but we're overstimulated in society. We're being hit by a million different things in all these different ways, right? So we feel like we have to do all these different things, right? But not everything is out there for us. And I know I posted a video a couple months ago about how overworking could be a sign of depression in men, right? And it's different from women. Sometimes as guys, depression might come out as anger, right? It might come out as overworking. It might come out as mood swings. It might come out as irritability. So if you're already kind of going through it and you're trying to do all these different things, it can drain you out that much more, right? So you gotta protect your peace. Everything is not for you. All right. And Omar says, how do you know if you've let out everything? What's too much information if you can't always be vulnerable? So Omar, here's the thing. If you don't have a safe space to express your feelings and you let out a little bit, that's gonna feel like it's too much, right? Like if you have a safe space and people are judging you and you say, oh, I feel bad because I wasn't productive last week. I didn't get a lot done. People they might laugh at you and say, oh, you didn't get anything done. Like you should be a grown man, like grow up. So if you let out a little bit and you don't feel accepted or you don't feel like you can speak up more, you got to shift. You have to find a true safe space, right? If you have a safe space where you can be vulnerable, then there's no such thing as too much information because you're not worried about being judged. Like a true safe space, you're not really worried about what somebody's going to say, right? But if you are worried, then that's a sign that I might have to not that you have to cut off people, right? But you might have to spend a little bit less time with certain people so you can spend time with more people who can uplift you, right? It's all about where your energy is going. We can't do a million things at once, but we can do a few things really well. Leilani says we don't have to do all the things, even if we feel like we do. Most of the things will still be there tomorrow. I agree. Protecting your peace is so important. And if someone's endangering that you have the responsibility to decide whether or not having that person in your life is right. That deserves a love to show because you have to figure out what's for you and what's not for you. It's Mercury. I appreciate you, my guy. And damn, I felt that I'm going through my depression stage right now. So, Smarkio, it's important to hear this, right? And whether it's, I don't know, right? But I don't think it matters whether it's like clinical depression, like, at least 2 weeks of being sad and like, you're struggling with all those things, or whether you're just feeling sad for like 3 or 4 days. The type of depression doesn't matter that much. I think it just matters that if you're feeling this way, right, where you feel like you're going through some sort of depressive phase, things are going to be harder to do, right? So the more you can simplify things down for you, the easier. If it takes too many steps, you probably won't do it right now that you're kind of feeling low, right? So as easy as you can make it, the better, right? So protect your peace, cut out all the extra stuff, right? Doing like an audit. I'm doing an audit right now with everything that I'm doing. I'm preparing to release a book in December, and I got to record an audiobook version, and I got some things that have to be on the road. So like I've sat down with my team and I've realized that, oh, we're going to have to work a lot. How do I protect my peace? How do I put myself in a position to where I don't get snappy with the people that I love because I'm like overworked and I don't have any time to just like be, so just keep that in mind. Anytime I don't have your names, I say Smirkio, but anytime Molly says, I don't have a great support system and it gets to me. Right. But look, this is a support system right here. Like I'm talking to 160 people who, like I didn't know. I mean, aside from the moderators and the people who come every now and then, the OGs, but the majority of these folks, I didn't know who you all were. Right. But because of Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn, because of the internet, we somehow got to this moment right here, right now, and we're together. Right. So I would tap into the internet, whether it's a Discord and keep in mind, this is not, it still doesn't it's not a substitute for professional help, right? There's nothing that I can say, oh, do this instead of going to therapy or do this instead of going to a doctor. I can't say that, right? I wouldn't say it, even if I could say it legally, but it's important to know that you have people out there who are like-minded, right? Especially for those people who are neurodivergent, ADHD, autism, or anybody who has been kind of made to feel as if they're by themselves. When you grow up and you find people who are like you, it allows you to kind of be yourself. You don't have to like mask or fake the funk. It feels really good. The 2-second dance. All right, so real quick, the way this dance goes, I'll do it real quick. You have to have a little bit of like, hip motion, body motion, right? You go like, all right, you go like this. Damn, I forgot how to do dance. Oh, it's because I'm not moving. So move like this, but you start off like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you hit the dance like that, and you gotta have the foot action with it too. Christopher says, I'm super thankful my girlfriend plugged me into your group. Shout out to your girlfriend, Christopher. This has been just a huge support for me between therapy sessions and my Coda group. Thank you for the safe space. That's a double love the show. One love the show to you and one love the show to your girlfriend. All right. And Courtney says, it's a hard time for men. Time has changed. They're no longer the primary breadwinner, men of the house. They now have the chance to speak up and speak out on what's ailing them. They may have been raised with the you're the man, hide it down mentality, but are struggling inside. Please, man, always be open and honest when it comes to you and receiving an ear or a hand. You're not alone anymore. Courtney gets a love of the show for this. This is so important. This is so important, you know. And Omar saying, I keep up 3 jobs just to stay afloat. Like I see stories like this all the time of men who are doing the best that they can to just keep their head above water, right? And sometimes somebody comes along and just saying, hey, you're doing a good job, keep it up. Like that can go a long way, you know. So I think it's important to talk about that, right? I'd rather we talk about it now before, you know. I've always felt, and I know it sounds sad, and I like to be like optimistic, but I've always felt that sometimes we're a little bit too reactive, especially with male mental health. Like you wait for people to like hurt themselves before we start to do something. So hopefully we can switch that, right? And not sure what the topic is, but I'm a man struggling to become a man. So once again, love, we're talking about 5 things that every man needs to hear for his mental health. And when people say becoming a man, like I don't know what becoming a man consists of. Like, you know, at one point I thought it was you gotta have a lot of money, or you have to drive a really fast car, or you have to have like a supermodel girlfriend or whatever. I don't know what it takes to be a man, right? But wherever you are right now and whatever you're doing, you should be proud of that. I feel like if you're doing your best, like that's what being a man is all about. You don't have to be like in the most mentally healthy state. Like you're just doing the best that you can. I think that's what being a man is, if you ask me, because like I don't know what, you know, being like I don't know what you have to do before you officially become like a man for real. Like you should just be like, you know, you're a man because you're a man. All right, the 4th thing that I like every man to know before I click let me read this real quick. I'm starting a path on a new career tomorrow where I'll be working with high-risk children. I love any positive vibes as my anxiety and manic depression are feeding fear. I want to be excited. So Trisha, what I'll say is, hey, you're working with high-risk kids. Like you're gonna be somebody, you have a true chance to make a big impact on kids who will never forget you for the rest of their lives. So just go as you. Just go as you. Like, you know, you talked about a little bit of your mental health history and stuff right here. So go as you. You don't have to be anybody else, right? If you go and you're upfront and transparent and vulnerable, I think that'll be very helpful for the kids. All right. So number 4, asking for help is a sign of strength. This is very important because I think as men, it's very difficult to ask for help. You know, and I mean, I sit here and I say this, but I've had to learn this. Like I've had to learn that whenever I get stressed, call the phone and call my sister and say, hey, I need some thoughts on this, or I need this type of assistance. Because sometimes when you do things by yourself, you have that sense of pride, like, oh, I did it by myself. I don't need anybody else, or I don't have to ask people for things, or I don't have to depend on somebody, right? But life is all about, that was weird. Something got stuck in my throat. Life is all about depending on people. Well, life is about people. It's a people game, right? So you have to know when to ask for help and how to ask for help. But if it's a pride issue, or if you're embarrassed to ask for help, you may not be able to get the help that you need. And depending on what the help you need is, that could be the very thing that could, number 1, save your life. Number 2, elevate your life. Or that could be what you need just to keep your head above water, right? So it's very, very important to understand that when you ask for help, it doesn't make you weak, but actually makes you a strong person. And Dale, you're right. This is a good time to get the water break in. Cause I'm like, I could probably use some water right here. All right. And other cultures have coming of age things for men, but in the West we don't have it. So, Brandon, I like that point. And I don't know what the coming of age thing is. I really don't know. But right now, like you have guys, like I have friends. It might be different because I live in California, but I have friends who have private jets and the multimillionaires, and I have friends who are the same age who live with their parents. And nobody's more of a man than the other, right? So I'm not even sure what the coming of age thing is, but I would say if we just do the best that we can, like if you allow me to define what makes a man, I would say you do the best that you can and you take care of your people. That's what makes you a man. How do you call for help if everyone's always busy? So Omar, it might not be physical people because sometimes you might call and people might be busy, right? But that's why, like, I'm an internet fan, right? Because I don't have my platform without the internet. But you meet people who the internet is good because like the people who are your friends right now, think about it. People who are your friends, why are you friends with them? Because you either went to the same school or church, or they're friends because of proximity. On the internet, you follow people because you're interested in what they're saying. Like the people who are watching this live right now, you didn't know who I was, but because of something or maybe a couple of things, you decided to tune in and check in. So on the internet, we get to focus on things that we actually want to see. So you can go straight to people who are like you and build that community. So if you ask me, I'm a fan of like online support groups because sometimes that might be the most practical way to get help. Are you helping where you can without him having to ask? Sometimes we don't ask for help because right. But I'm a tool. I see what you're saying, but I think the whole idea of being comfortable with asking for help is something that as men collectively we might have to work on. It's so hard to even admit to yourself you're struggling. Right, Christian, I completely agree. It's steps in this process. You have to first admit to yourself, damn, I might need help. Number two, well, I might need help. Where do I go? All right, go there. Okay, all right, cool. I need help, and I know I need to go somewhere, but now do I have the courage to speak up? So it's difficult. Feeling you are worthy of help is a different struggle. Right, right. Yeah, John. Sometimes you have to actually give yourself that space to be like, yeah, I think my life matters as well. All right, you know. And Andrea says, I met my best friend in a Facebook group. We live 35. Ooh, crap my neck, miles away, and it's the best friendship I've ever had. Right. And this person that you met them because y'all have similar interests. It wasn't because you were forced to work with them and y'all became coworkers. Like you actually want to be this person's friend. Daniel says, right, you are worthy of love on your bathroom mirror with an expo marker. Look yourself in the face and say those words out loud. That'll work. That'll work. All right, let me get to the fifth thing. Oh, all right, the fifth thing that every man needs to hear. This is on topic with everything else that we're talking about. Your support system is everything. And whether it's online, whether it's in person, your support system is everything because it's if you're trying to do life all by yourself and you're trying to figure out why you're frustrated or you're anxious or why you're struggling, that could be why. You're trying to carry all these different crosses on your back. Like life is not meant for one person to do it and succeed. Like you need people. You can't get around that. You need people. Like it's an actual need. If you look at the literature and the science behind it, not having human connection is bad for our physical health and our mental health. We need people around us, however way you want to say it. We need people. We really, really need people. We don't. It's not that we want people. We need people. So in the same way, we need people around you who are going to support you, right? Because sometimes you're going to have a day where you have a rough day and you come on my live to feel better. It doesn't work. You have your favorite food. It doesn't work. Some days you just feel like shit, and that's just how things are, right? But having a support system is going to be helpful because on these days, your friends will say, "Hey, bro, you've been working so hard. You've been doing all these different things. Give yourself some time to just relax and like take a break and take it all in. You don't have to do it all in one day. So sometimes that reminder can only come from a certain person or a certain group of people or somebody who was in your friend group, but maybe you weren't that close with them, but something that they said resonate with you and you're like, all right, this is somebody who I can really trust and be vulnerable with, right? So your support system is extremely important. The people that are around you, like I've learned that the hard way, you know, because I tried to do things all by myself. I'm like, oh, I don't need people. And now I'm realizing, no, life is a people game. It's a people game, you know. So being able to have people around you who support you, it's a cheat code. It's a cheat code. And Facebook user says it's so easy to connect with and understand people's right. And Facebook user, this is why the internet is so important, right? Because now, like, you're going to things that you actually want to be a part of, right? And in life, we have a lot of people that we're friends with because of, you know, like, we just kind of see them around. But they might like golf, or you might like soccer, so you watch different things on ESPN, you know. That's amazing to hear. I'm so pleased it's helped you. Yeah, Andrea. I mean, like, obviously my life has been changed because of social media, but just like, even just going through DMs, which I don't do that often, or just looking through comments, you get to really connect with people, and that's been one of the best parts about this live. Like, that's why it's never hard for me to come on. Well, doing the live is easy, but the hard part for me is like actually remembering what time to go live, you know, like the beginning part. But once I get out here, it's so, I won't say it's so easy, but for me, it comes naturally because we're connecting with people. Like, I'm getting that live, real time engagement, right? If you're watching this live right now, it's live. If you watch after the fact, it's not live. But for me, what I'm doing is live, so I get that real time engagement. Watching real. Hey, and look, today is actually World Mental Health Day, right? So everybody goes through stuff every now and then, but it's important to know that, hey, I won't let this define me. Like, maybe it was a bad day, maybe it was a bad week, maybe it was a bad month, maybe it's a bad year, right? But we still have the hope to have a better week the next week, a better month the next month, a better year in 2023, you know? And Brand says, I've been feeling pretty lonely lately, and I've been moving around today following your points from your morning show. I even have out an old hobby, feeling better than I have. Hey! And this comment right here, this is probably one of my favorite comments that I've gotten in a while, because these are things that, like on days where I wake up. Like, there was a day maybe 2 weeks ago where I woke up. It was a Thursday. I didn't have energy for whatever reason. Like, I didn't go to the gym. Normally I go to the gym summer day. I didn't go to the gym. I stayed in bed till like 11 o'clock. I kind of lounged about, and I just did nothing. I looked at my to-do list to see if anything was priority. I did what I could. I'm like, all right. Like, for whatever reason, I just didn't have the energy that day. I don't know why. I woke up, the sun was shining, it's 75, and it was sunny in California, but I was just drained for whatever reason. But I allowed myself to sit there, you know, in the confusion. And I'm like, all right, today is not going to be a productive day. And I just allowed myself to sit there. The very next day was an awesome day. I was like, oh, I'm like, today feels great. You know, so it's okay to have days where you just don't have it. Like if it hasn't happened to you, it's going to happen. And that doesn't mean that you have like major depressive disorder, right? But it's okay to have, and I think that's one thing that I wish I could really let people know. It's okay to have a day where you just don't have it, or maybe even a couple of days, right? That's just life. Sometimes we're too quick to say, oh, that's like full on depressive. No, it's just life. You're just having a bad day. You just need to pick me up. That's all, you know? I don't have any October 10th. What about October 10th again? How many friends? Well, now you have 100 something who are watching the live stream right now. And once we get a Discord set up, it's going to be very helpful. I'm excited to get it set up. You know, I'm going to tap into the kids and figure out, you know, what's good with Discord. It's wild how the internet has the world more. Right, Brandon, we're so much more connected, but we still feel disconnected. And the internet is like everything. Like, you have to figure out, what do I need from the internet, and extract that and then leave the rest. You know, because like, if I stay on the internet for too long, I'll lose track of time. I'm like, damn, like, I wasn't productive today because I've been watching videos and laughing all day. You know, so you have to figure out, you have to compartmentalize the internet. Using each of your messages to reflect on how I should have been. Okay, Hope. I'm in self-medicating for ADHD. Would it be a smart decision to switch to what's prescribed? I was under prescription when I was younger, but switched because of how it made me feel. So, Omar, yes, I think it would be helpful to go back and talk to your doctor. And if you could be transparent, that would be helpful. You know, so being transparent would be telling your doctor, hey, you gave me this medication at this milligrams. It made me feel bad or whatever. So because of that, I decided to smoke, and that's helping me out in this way. But I still would like to get back on meds and focus. Like say it just like that. And a good provider should be able to adjust the dosage and to work with you. Brent, I listen to your lives and your reels. I appreciate what you put out. I wish you were here in Norfolk. I used to be out there in the Hampton Roads area, back in Norfolk. Yeah, really nice city. 39 years old, never diagnosed with ADHD. Your reels have made me want to get it checked out. Thank you. I wish I knew some doctors in Virginia. I'm going to try and build up that list again and put it out there. So that way, if somebody's in Norfolk or Newport News or wherever, they can find somebody. So if I can find that list or figure out a way to build that, I would love to do that. And yeah, let me drop this on here. The 5 things that every man needs to hear for his mental health. Number 1, you deserve to be heard. Number 2, money doesn't define you. Number 3, protect your peace. Everything isn't for you. Number 4, asking for help is a sign of strength. And number 5, your support system is everything. And let me talk about number 4 real quick, because it's one thing for me to say, it's one thing for me. Asking for help is a sign of strength. But it's another thing for me to be stuck in a jam and I'm like, dang it, I need help, right? And this is out of all these 4, like asking for help is something that I've always struggled with. And I'm not talking in terms of like mental health. I'm talking about like the simple things. Like just asking somebody to like run an errand. I'm like, oh, I don't want to ask them because they're going to use it against me and then I'm going to owe them a favor, right? So I've had to like open myself and say, hey, sometimes you just need help, and the help that I need is the small things that go a long way. Like if I'm in California, the traffic is bad. If I'm on this side of town and you're on that side of town and I ask you to pick up something for me, I'll love you forever. You'll be my best friend because you just saved me like an hour of. So sometimes just asking for help, you'll make life so much easier. At least allow the person to say, oh, I can't do it, bro. I don't have it. Or I'm not able to help you out the way you want to be helped. But having the courage to ask for help is like, there's something there within that thinking that I think is life-saving. All right. Shane, no, marijuana is not a legitimate treatment for ADHD. It's not, but people with ADHD do tend to use cannabis at much higher rates. So we will definitely have that marijuana discussion soon. We will definitely have it, because of some of the recent news that have come out from the White House with cannabis and things of that nature. We'll have that discussion soon, most definitely. I think it's very important to talk about it. All right. And yes, so even though I'm currently live right now, you will be able to watch the stream immediately after the live ends. And all of the previous lives are available on my Facebook page and YouTube channel. So Kendra, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Marie, let me answer this real quick before I finish. I have not experienced psychosis. And as somebody with ADHD, that's why I think I'm able to make relatable ADHD content. But as part of my ADHD, I think I can feel what depression will look like, what anxiety will look like, even what mania will look like, maybe, with respect to that. But with things like psychosis, I'm not sure what it looks like, but I always do my best to, I think back to previous interactions with patients or talking to somebody who's experienced it to try and figure out what psychosis looks like, because it's very difficult to bring psychosis to life. Like I really struggle to do that because I don't want to of course, like offend the patient or something like that. But I'm still trying to figure out how to bring psychosis to life or how to illustrate what psychosis will look like or what I think it would look like, if that makes sense. Right. Omar, yes, no, we're gonna have that live on cannabis. Most definitely, because it's very important to talk about. Very important. I'll come with my information. I'm coming from an evidence-based perspective, so Facebook has not said anything to me about it. But if they did, then like I have to abide within the regulations of the platform. But if they did say something about it, I have my evidence, I have my information, I have the articles I'm pulling all the information from, so that way they know that I'm coming as a mental health professional, and I'm not coming as somebody to say, hey, here's a 3.5 for your ADHD. That's not how it works, right? But I'm going to come from an evidence-based perspective. So should the platform say something about it, I think I'll be prepared. But if we can't have that conversation, then that's fine. Then I'll just kind of like pivot and go from there. Raven, I appreciate you. Yeah, too many men suffer in silence, so we have to do our best. It's a collective effort, not just women, like all of us. And it's funny because when you look at the internet, all I'm seeing is men versus women. Women don't do anything right. What men don't do it. No, but we need each other. Like we're not gonna make this thing work without each other. And Omar, as soon as I have the details for Discord, I will let y'all know. I don't know how Discord works all the way, but I have enough. I got 2 younger brothers, and I know they're friends, so we will figure out Discord. Marie, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Someone once described psychosis to me as feeling. They'll live. I can get to them later. Feeling like you're tipsy and in the worst state of mind, where every fear or thought, oh wow, you've ever had is amplified. Wow, someone once described psychosis to me as feeling like you're tipsy and in the worst state of mind. Wow, I've never heard that description before. Wow, I do appreciate that though. All right, let me see. Also, we'll be posting. Laisha, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right. And so I'll figure out how the Discord works and we'll get that set up, because that's how things are done today, the Discord way. So we'll get that set up and we will create a community on there. Like I'm interested in seeing, like, even for myself, I'm going to learn so much in the Discord. Like I'm sure somebody's going to drop in an ADHD hack, which I'm going to start doing, and it's going to like change things. So I hope I can, educate you all and of course keep you all laughing and entertained, and also learn a couple of things myself. So all right, so that's it for today's streams. I'm about to go. I gotta pee again because I've been drinking a lot of water. But yeah, I hope you all have a fantastic Mickey. I hope you all have a fantastic day. We'll be back on tomorrow for the late night show, and until then, y'all take care. We're gonna get this Discord set up. Don't worry, we will get it set up. All right, peace.